On Wednesday, we saw what has to be one of the most stunning political contrasts of all time. As I was watching, I put out this tweet: President Trump signing a historic trade deal while Nancy Pelosi was yucking it up with her pathetic impeachment pens. In my usual measured way, I called her a divisive, spiteful, hate-filled charlatan. And in case you think that was over the top, look at what she actually said.
He has been impeached. He's been impeached forever. They can never erase that.
Impeached forever. There's the contrast. Pelosi stunts versus Trump results. Americans can see what's going on. Look what happened when the President and First Lady entered the stadium at the CFP National Championship game last week.
The President of the United States and the First Lady.
That is the sound of Americans who are proud of their president because of what he's doing for their country. Proud of the Soleimani strike, the first time Iran's murderous regime has been seriously confronted by America for 40 years. Proud of the China tariffs, too, the first time any Western leader has stood up to them. This week, they signed a Phase 1 trade deal over $30 billion in U.S. agriculture exports, more than $50 billion for energy, over $70 billion for manufacturing. Even more important, finally, protection for our company's intellectual property and a pledge from China to stop the competitive devaluations that previously gave them an unfair trade advantage. Next week, the president will sign the USMCA, just passed by the Senate, which affects 40% of our trade. Our farmers will now be able to sell more dairy products to Canada. American patents and trademarks will be better protected. And above all, the USMCA is fantastic news for our auto workers, with new rules to prevent them from being undercut by cheap foreign labor. It is the most pro-worker trade deal in history, a massive boost for our economy, which will create hundreds of thousands of new jobs. Then, on infrastructure, a huge move the other week that barely got covered. The Trump administration sweeping away the bureaucracy that's led to nonsense like a 12-mile expansion of Interstate 70 in Denver, taking 13 years to build. These reforms will speed up the construction of new roads everywhere, a vital move for working Americans because infrastructure boosts productivity and more productive workers get paid more. It comes on top of steps the administration has already taken to help build pipelines across the country. That's helped us become a net oil exporter, which in turn gives us a freer hand in the Middle East. Yes, there's a strategy here, people, and it's working. You see the same on immigration. The number of border apprehensions fell in December for the 7th straight month, thanks to a coherent set of actions, including the new Wait in Mexico policy for asylum seekers. And remember the president's threat of tariffs on Mexico? The establishment freaked out. You can't do that, they said. That's not how it works, using trade policy for an immigration objective. Well, it may have been unconventional, but it did work. Mexico sent troops to their border, and the numbers of low-wage immigrants plummeted. That's helped boost jobs and earnings for the lowest-paid American workers, reversing decades of stagnation. Another sign of a joined-up policy strategy that's working. And all that before the recent court victory on the border wall. In his re-election ad, President Reagan famously said, "It's morning in America." Well, in this re-election year, we can say for sure that the sun is out and shining bright. Record high stock market, lowest unemployment in 50 years, lowest in history for women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans. But those are just the well-known results. Look deeper. There's been more wage growth in almost every age group as Americans benefit from a pro-growth, pro-enterprise policy agenda. Politicians go on and on about the middle class. But look at the actual results. Between 2016 and 2018, the number of taxpayers making between $100,000 and $200,000 grew by 8%, while those making less than $25,000 fell by 5%. Why is this happening? In part because of the Trump policy strategy, different to anything we've seen before. He's taking traditional conservative ideas and combining them with new populist ones, appointing conservative judges and criminal justice reform, tax cuts and paid family leave, pro-business on regulations and pro-worker on trade and immigration, building up our military and standing up to China. But there's a personal aspect to this too, which I recognize from my experience. Unlike other TV hosts, I've run companies and worked in government, and so I know how hard it is to make change happen. Last week, I said Trump was different because he's not ideological, he's pragmatic. He's a problem-solving businessman. You saw that on display at the signing of that China trade deal. Now, this may seem like a small example, but it illustrates a big point. The president mentioned how there hadn't been July the 4th fireworks at Mount Rushmore for decades.
I said, you mean you can't have fireworks because of the environment? Yeah, environmental reasons. I said, what can burn? It's stone. You know, it's stone. It's ground. So nobody knew why. They just said environmental reasons. So I called up our people, and within about 15 minutes, we got it approved, and you're going to have your first big fireworks display at Mount Rushmore, and I'll try and get out there if I can.
You see, most politicians would just accept the establishment line. Sorry, you can't do that. It's a totally different mindset when you put an outsider in the Oval Office. That mindset is what's delivering results on deregulation, immigration and the border, trade, and all the rest of it. Here's another key point. This president loves business. I've never seen any politician call out such a long list of companies to praise like the president did last week. Here's just a brief example.
David Abney of UPS. UPS is doing very well. Darius Adamczyk of Honeywell, great company. Al Kelly, Visa. Al Kelly, thank you. Nancy Falotoko of Ford. Sanjay Murata of Micron, incredible company. Jim Morrison of Jeep. What a great brand Jeep is. What a job they've done. That is a great brand.
That attitude is how the president and Ivanka Trump have helped create 14 million new training places by working with the private sector instead of doing it through government bureaucracy. Critics say the president just wants yes people around him, but look at how he built his China team, starting with his ambassador, former Iowa Governor Terry Branstad.
I was going in to make a speech before the election, and he said, sir, please don't say anything bad about China. It's the first time anyone ever said that to me. And I said, who is this guy? He's the governor of Iowa. He just said, don't say bad about China. So I had to rip up about half of my speech, right? And I said, why? He said, well, we do a lot of business. Hey, man, I think I can go on the opposite side of the spectrum, perhaps, from the governor. His attitude's a little different. Our trade advisor, Peter Navarro. Right, Peter? He's a little different. We have all types.
All this is why he's delivering and why impeachment is not just a joke, but an insult to every American who has a right to expect that Congress, like the president, is spending its time getting real results for workers and families. Of course, you can forget about that from today's decadent Democrats. But the best thing the president can do is to focus on policy, on results. So we continue to see that contrast between Trump results and Democrat stunts. If you want to get regular updates on policy results, we're revamping our social media to do just that. So please follow us now at Steve Hilton X and at NextRevFNC. All right, let's bring in our guest for the night. Founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, author of the upcoming book, MAGA Doctrine, the only ideas that will win the future. Is that a pro-Trump book, Charlie?
Just slightly.
Just wanted to check. Jenna Ellis is here. She's part of the president's legal team on impeachment and former Deputy National Security Advisor and author of the new book, Revolution, Trump, Washington, and We the People, Katie McFarland. By the way, where's your book, Jenna?
I was going to say, yes, I have a book. It's called The Legal Basis for a Moral Constitution.
Okay,
yes, you can get that on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. So
fantastic.
Thank you for that.
I'm not going to talk about my book. I want to ask Charlie to comment on something that really shocked me today. I shouldn't be shocked, but I was, okay? I've just set out there you've got a contrast between the real results in the real world and what the impeachment farce is all about. I think any reasonable person would at least acknowledge that contrast. This morning on NBC's flagship show, Meet the Press with Chuck Todd, they have a whole hour, literally not 1 minute on anything in the real world. Nothing about this historic trade deal, about what's going on next week, USMCA, the stuff that actually affects their viewers. I just thought it was completely outrageous.
It is. So America's divided, but it's not divided the way that the media wants us to believe. It's divided between the ruling class that is just so infatuated with impeachment and destabilizing this president and revitalization that's happening in this country. I mean, Steve, your opening was brilliant for a variety of ways, but you talked about how...
Thank you very much. You can come back.
Thank you. But more than anything else, you showed that the president comes at it from a common sense perspective, pragmatism, and it's not necessarily ideological at times. So it's tax cuts with paid family leave, standing up to China with rebuilding our military, strong on immigration, but also pro-free enterprise. And look at the results. So the ruling class, the wise men of Washington, the kingdom of Washington, D.C., their entire agenda the last 40 years had now been proven completely incorrect. They've been getting rich while America really has been falling behind. Yeah. And it's a disgrace that the media continues to ignore the results of this presidency.
And because they just can't stand him personally. But that's the thing. That's why I wanted to set out the results. Because, you know, back in 2016, I kind of thought, well, Donald Trump, the candidate, was likely to be better than Hillary Clinton on the key issue of who's going to help those who've been left behind by globalization and this process.
Something like this.
As time has gone on, I've got more supportive because of the results. You just look at them and you just think he's really delivered exactly what was supposed to happen, and those are facts. But Jenna, I want to get your legal brain on this and switch sort of directly to the impeachment story.
And it is just a story, so that's an apt description.
Well, there you are. So to that point, I would like your legal opinion. Can somebody sue Pelosi for damages for the total time-wasting farce of this impeachment?
Well, you know, she herself should be impeached because this is just ridiculous.
I think she technically can't be. Is that right?
Well, I mean, she should be removed, you know, and so essentially, yeah, and she can, and in the polls, and that's exactly what this is about. Because the 90-second version of what's going on in this impeachment, we saw that the House managers filed their 111-page brief. Essentially, what they are arguing is that no person is above the law. We are pro-Constitution. We are pro-rule of law. And the answer to that, what the president is arguing, is of course that's true that no one's above the law, but state a law that's actually been broken here. What is a crime? So there is nothing that they have alleged that is actually on the books as a law that he's broken. So let's actually look at the Constitution. Article 2, Section 1 says that all executive power is vested in a president of the United States. And so what that means is that foreign policy decisions and all of the executive authority is vested in the president. This is a policy dispute. What the Democrats are trying to do is to wield majority opposition party power in the House and require a sitting president of the United States to answer for his constitutionally vested policy decisions in the context of a Senate impeachment trial. That is absolutely unconstitutional, and it's violating the rule of law, and that's why this precedent and what Jay Sekulow and Pat Cipollone argued yesterday is absolutely correct, that this has to be dismissed out of hand because there is not abuse of power, obstruction of Congress are not laws on the books that he's violated.
That's awfully complicated. And I've been through an impeachment.
It's actually simple.
Sounds
plausible. I mean, it's simple, but it's complicated. Look, I think the Democrats have already lost. They just don't realize it yet. Because there are three possible outcomes here, right? One, there's a trial in the Senate. It's long, extended. There are a lot of people come up and testify. Do you really think they're going to beat Donald Trump in the greatest reality TV show of all time? This is a guy who created reality television. And what's impeachment? A reality television show. The media is going to get rich on it. Politicians are going to get rich on it. Donald Trump's going to beat him. Or they're going to quickly do away with this and then look like they were wasting time. So they're either going to look incompetent or mean and petty.
Just a quick thought, Katie, just while you're here. We're going to have lots more impeachment later on, but just to close out this bit. By the way, with your experience, by this time, by the way, from a couple of weeks ago, we were being told we were going to be in the middle of World War III over Iran. I mean, what do you make of how that's turned out?
Well, I think President Trump had a very good policy right from the beginning. Fix the American economy, rebuild the American military, and then put sanctions on Iran, withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal, and squeeze them to the point where they have no options. They don't have a military option against us. They don't have an economic option against us. And then force them to come to the negotiating table on our terms. And if they don't, the Iranian people will change
and there, too, you see the results. I mean, literally this week, finally, the Europeans coming round.
Well, they have to.
Well, it happened this week. That was very interesting.
Trump knew that they were going to. And so now everybody's aligned against Iran, including the Iranian people who are out on the streets protesting their regime.
All right.